Stinnett. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
State Representative Melanie Stinnett.
Thank you, thank you.
Representative Melanie Stinnett. Yeah, you know, on your bio that Karen probably sent over to me. Karen Burnell Ruff is a good friend of mine, and she did a great job and probably still goes up to Jefferson City
She
and represents.
does.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
she absolutely does a great job. But so she didn't put that you're a representative.
Well,
but I know.
I was here for the ARC, and doing my day job here in Springfield. So
Well,
wanted to really highlight what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm still in public service too, and so District 133
That's
is your
correct.
district, and I think you're seriously considering running for Senate, and I think that would be.
We've launched
I think-
the campaign,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we're in it.
I think that's a good thing. And,
Thank you.
But anyway, and then we have Jamie McGranahan.
Yes.
I want to make sure of McGranahan. So completely Irish. And and so we appreciate you. So now you, Melanie, are the Vice President of Therapy Services.
That's
right?
correct.
And then you
My
are,
title is Autism Resource Specialist.
okay, Autism Restore. Well, that's a lot. So so
sure
I'm
is.
sure. So we've got some questions that we're going to ask, and just and you guys can both chime in and see who's going to answer them, because I didn't. Not assign anybody to any one question, but the first thing I think we need to tell people, we've got people right now watching in all 50 states, and we've got people even in other countries watching us, and I think this show is a show that can affect everybody. Everybody probably knows someone with an autistic child, and it just seems like that's to me a growing epidemic. I mean, it's just more and more people. We hear about it all the time, and so. Tell us about the services that the Arc of the Ozarks offers.
Yeah. So we have a wide range of services, from our services in our clinic setting. So we have the state-funded Autism and Neurodevelopmental Center that does our autism diagnostics for Southwest Missouri. This was really a game changer, and we've been open now about a year and a half.
It wasn't Lynn that helped get that money?
We did. We did help get that money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, it was a game-changing decision for our state to invest in Southwest Missouri in this way, because as you know, in having the conversations, many families were having to travel hours upon hours to get these diagnostics. And, these families are already having challenges, and they're already dealing with stress, and then to have the stress of having to travel that far to get a service like that. So we're really proud to be able at the ARC to offer that service and be that hub for Southwest Missouri. But we also offer counseling services, including family counseling and group therapy services. We offer child and adult psychiatry services for medication management, speech, occupational, physical therapy, music therapy, really all of those things that after a diagnosis a child may need to then thrive and be successful. We offer those also. But the ARC's been around for 60 years, and they've been providing services, just a very wide range of services, from employment services to day services to summer programming for kids that when they're out of school. I'm sure I'm missing some if you want to chime in and add any others.
Well, we also have the ISLs, Independent Supported Living, so that allows a person to live within their community and have staff that come in and support them. Then we also have community networking. So community networking is allowing a person to be out and a part of the community with the support staff, guiding them as they get to experience and choose the things that they want to do and be a part of.
What age do those services start? Because it sounds like this is for the older child that is no longer getting services through the schools.
Correct.
And so you transition them into the community.
Those typically begin when a person receives a Medicaid waiver. And so when they receive a waiver, it's typically after the age of 18.
Okay.
So they receive services through the Department of Mental Health, the Developmental Disability Division. They have Medicaid. That waivered service then is supported by the ARC, or there's a lot of other providing agencies all across the state. And so that allows the opportunity for that person to be an active part of their community, which is part of the ARC's mission. We're in Springfield, but we're also in Monett, Cassville. We have an agency in Kansas City. We're now in St. Charles, Joplin. We have places in Bolivar, Mountain Grove. So quite a large organization from that 60 years ago of a group of parents sitting around a table saying, we need something to help our children.
So it sounds like your services are headquartered or staffed in central to west Missouri, except St. Louis. But what about southeast Missouri? Can families from southeast Missouri still come?
They can. Our autism diagnostic services go so far to West Plains and Willow Springs, but there are providers and there are agencies in that part of the state.
Poplar Bluff.
and,
Yes.
But
Gerardo.
Southwest Missouri was just a desert when it came to autism diagnosis. They were very limited, and families were, struggling to find those services. So the ARC stepped in and said, we're going to take a step into providing this support.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys do an awesome job. And Dennis Everson, our volunteer producer today, he also works for ARC of the Ozarks and works in the group homes, independent living, and things like that. So as family pharmacy owner for many years, we filled all your prescriptions and made lots and lots of deliveries and things like that. You serve just a great group of people, and you do a great job. I actually enjoyed making deliveries because when I went to the group homes, a lot of those people knew my name.
Sure.
And they wanted to tell me something.
Oh, yes.
And so sometimes I'd just have to sit down and listen because they were so happy to see somebody where so I took my time on some of the deliveries. It was actually rewarding.
Yeah, and you provided a vital service. Medication's very important for all of us.
Yeah, so that's really good. Well, that's good. I'm glad. We'll probably do group answering, okay? So I think that was good. So what services does the Autism Center actually offer?
Well, Melanie covered a lot of them. We have the diagnostic process, so allowing a person to receive that autism diagnosis and support the family through that process. Then we have counseling. We have several different forms of counselors for marriage and family, because we do know that a lot of families that have a person with autism struggle. So we have a marriage and family counselor. We have dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and different supports to meet those persons' needs when it comes to therapy. And then on the other side, we have occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, our feeding clinic, and an amazing sensory gym that's just very cool to get to go hang out and play a little bit. It's not really play, but when I visit, it's play. And then we have the psychiatry department that they support a lot of med management for families and for adults. So we took the approach that after a person got a diagnosis, there's so many other things that go on past that. And so if we can't provide it at the ARC, one of the things that I do with my group of coworkers is that we provide resources for the families. So it doesn't have to be at the ARC of the Ozarks. It can be at one of the other many providers in town, just making sure that family gets their needs met where they're at. So that's what the resource team does.
So did I hear you correctly? You don't have to be an ARC of the Ozarks. You're helping other groups too?
Sure. We have community members that call all the time looking for, where can I find this therapy, or how do I get supports at school, or my grandchild just got diagnosed. I don't know anything about autism. Can you tell me? And that's the resource team and the family advocacy team's role. And so we take those calls and we try to support as many resources as we can. But people come to the ARC in many different ways, and we're just there to meet them.
Well, see, I'll tell you, Jamie, one of the things that I've always found out, I've thought about churches is, and I don't want to be negative, this show's about positive, but sometimes churches, I think, miss the boat because they don't help as many people as they can help because they're so want to make sure that they take care of their own members, and so they don't go out and outreach and help other people. They seem to kind of have little boundaries, and to me, that's a problem with churches.
Yeah, I've seen
I'm-
families when a child with a disability is born into the family, the church kind of freezes on them. A lot of casseroles at the birth part, but then they don't know what to do after that, and those families drop out.
Yeah. And if I can take a step away from the professional Jamie and be the parent Jamie, I'm a mom of a 32-year-old son. And my husband and I were actually in the ministry when Connor was born. And for those first about 10 years of his life, we were serving. And it was challenging and it was difficult because there's a lot of bless your heart, you must be chosen, you must be a special parent to have a kiddo like this. And man, I didn't feel special. I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the church has slowly but surely been learning, and we're fortunate. There are a lot of churches that are stepping into that role of helping those families with a diagnosis, allowing them to be a part of worship and allowing their needs to be met physically and spiritually. So I'll step back into my professional role, but as a mom, that was definitely something that we personally experienced, the challenges and the joy of when someone would come to us and say, I don't know autism, but I know you guys, and how can I help?
But kudos to Arc of the Ozarks for reaching out and accepting all the inquiries that come in and trying to help everybody.
And
So-
that's a unique thing about the ARC's Autism and Neurodevelopmental Center. That family advocacy piece is unique to us, and the ARC has been doing that on the other side of what they do for a very long time and made it a priority. And I think it speaks to their love of helping the community as a whole and making sure that everyone feels like they can call somewhere and get some help, because we know in dealing with families that have these kiddos, they often just get passed around from phone call to phone call to phone call. They call this place and they say, oh, maybe you should call this place. And then they call that place and they say, well, it's not us, you should call this place. And we want to be a place they can call, and we say, we know how to help. We'll help you find the best resources possible so you don't have to, play that game
I'll
of,
tell you a story. In my position up in Jeff City, it says Executive Director of Joint City Committee on Education. And that word education just gets honed in by the public, and they go, somebody in education help me. And they'll email me, and I'm like, I can't do direct services, but if you call your legislator,
yeah.
your colleagues, I said, and they call me, then I can help them. And so I always try to find a workaround, because they are the constituents of Missouri legislature, and that's who I work for.
Sure.
That said, I just want you to know that parents are desperate
They are.
to get somebody who knows what they're talking about, to give them direction on what to do. And I can't divulge the particular details, but I just want to say that the whole spectrum of services, including residential setting for adult persons who can sustain themselves on a daily basis, but can't manage the bigger issues in life, like handling finances and that sort of thing. They can still get support in these residential centers, and the parents who have raised the children and done their best their whole lives actually can age out knowing those children are going to be taken care of. And that's just a huge comfort. I can't explain how shocking it was for me to be up there, and I'm talking within the first 3 weeks of my job.
Wow.
And it was amazing to me how much legislators can help if they knew
Yes,
what resources
Yes.
were there to refer their constituents to.
absolutely.
And I know Roseanne Bentley just recently
Yes,
passed
I saw
away.
that.
yes.
But years ago, I was in Jeff City advocating. My kiddo was young, and I walked up and introduced myself and said, I'm from Springfield, and I'm a mom. My son has autism. And she
Yeah.
took my hand and said, come with me. And I thought, oh. And walked me into her office, pulled the chairs out, sat right down next to me, and said, tell me what your life is like. Tell me what's going on. I don't have experience. Tell me. And I learned very quickly that my legislators wanted to know what my daily life was like and what I was experiencing and what my needs were. So I will forever be grateful for those moments with her to explain, and hopefully it helped other families down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roseanne Bentley, what a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years she was senator, maybe 12 or something like that.
know. I
Something like that. I mean, several.
Yes.
And then also
Before term
yeah,
limits.
before term
Yes.
limits, but I think about 12 or so, and then I think that she became a commissioner
She was
in
in
Greene
Greene
County.
County.
I think for 11 years. So I kind of know some of the numbers. I've followed her for a long time because Dr. Bentley and I were good friends too, her husband, and so being in healthcare, and so yeah, just a great lady, and we're going to miss her, and but she was a pioneer in some of the things that
Yes, she was.
she actually did. So awesome. So how many employees do you have under you, Jamie, that providing these services?
The resource team, there are 3 of us, and then there's another family advocate in the other part of the ARC. But the 4 of us work close with a lot of the other professionals within the building. That's kind of our role, is just to be out there and know what's going on. So there's 4 of us that are
Yeah.
out there helping the families in the
Yeah,
community.
and Melanie, how many people as vice president
So
of
there-
therapy services? How's that?
There are about 70 employees with the autism and neurodevelopmental team as a whole. So that's all of
So
those
that's a big team.
services, as well as our administrative staff. I mean, from the healthcare side, it takes some administrative staff to get the job done too. So
Well,
we're
do
really
you personally
thankful.
do direct services now?
So I do some, not a lot anymore.
Just keep your
More-
fingers in it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, so my specialty is in feeding therapy.
Okay.
And so anytime we had one of our staff that's on the feeding team that was on maternity leave, and I went and did a couple of evals, and Dr. Kyle John, our medical director, actually saw me that day, and he said, "You looked so happy."
Yeah.
And I did. Yeah, I love seeing kiddos, and especially for feeding, I see a lot of babies when I do see kids, and so it's a big help to those moms that are just getting started with a new baby. But yeah, mostly on the administrative side myself now too, managing things and just helping make sure that things go smoothly. So, but 70 employees, I mean,
That's a lot.
growing
But that
from
just shows you the need out there.
absolutely, and we could grow more. We really are only limited by space and workforce, which is a other conversation. But it's grown significantly, as you said, because of the need, and it will continue to grow. I'm afraid for a little while. So.
And you started, Melanie, in healthcare with speech therapy, and you had your own business.
That's right. Yeah,
And-
I graduated from Missouri State, started working within the community in the hospital settings, and then started my practice in 2014, which the ARC purchased in 2022. And that was about almost 30 staff doing the speech, occupational, and physical therapy component. And we've kind of melded multiple teams together on the counseling side, as we've talked about, plus our therapy side and the psychiatry side, in an effort to really give that well-rounded care to patients. We've seen other autism centers in the state that, they do the assessment, they do a wonderful assessment, and then they give the report to the family and say, go into the community and find what you can. And we wanted to try, for those families that are here in Springfield, offer them something here where they don't have to just try and go find Of course, if they want to choose another provider, we absolutely provide multiple options for them. But then also we have our outlying clinics in Hollister, Joplin, and Kansas City. So if they're coming from a distance from somewhere, hopefully we can be a resource for them back home. These families that are in rural communities, it's not really something we've talked about yet. I mean, the challenges to get access to care in our rural communities is significant. And so our goal is to put some of these clinics, these smaller therapy clinics, in some of these outlying communities so that people don't have to drive an hour, 2 hours for their therapies after that diagnostic. Because we talked about, if you have to drive 3 hours for a diagnostic, that's hard, but it's one time. But if you need speech therapy every week, or you need family therapy, or you need whatever service, coming every week, sometimes multiple times a week, can be impossible for many of these families. So the ARCs really put it as a part of their vision and kind of their plan long term to continue to work on developing some of these outlying clinics in more rural communities to give greater access to those individuals.
Yeah, similar to eye doctors who have space in those smaller communities and send staff to that space.
Exactly.
For appointments maybe 2 days a week, rather than the families having to travel out. But I started in the era where families simply had to move. They had to change their residence to get closer to services. And for some occupations in rural areas, they have to leave their occupations. We're talking about people who own farms,
and they're leaving their family support
They're leaving
potentially
families,
too.
that's right.
So they're moving to get access to something, but they're also losing something in that process potentially. So
it's a big investment.
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
I've got to ask both of you ladies, since you're speech therapists and specialists. So I got to tell on myself. When I was growing up, I was a little kid. I don't really remember it too much, but my mom told me that I had a speech impediment, and so they sent me to a speach therapist, probably like you, Melanie or Mary, and
Well, you had to have a hearing loss for me to see you.
Oh, okay. Well, my wife thinks I do today, but I still don't think I do. But no, that wasn't it. But anyway, I remember slightly about going and learning how to speak better, and certain words were hard for me to say. And I remember my mom said they clipped my tongue. Do they?
Oh, sure.
Do they still do that
They do.
today?
The
Frenulum under the.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, so I thought, I don't know about that, but
Oh, and it was controversial.
Yeah.
Whether
But
or
I-
not it really worked.
I remember going to therapy. I don't remember a lot about it other than the fact that I guess I talk okay today. My kids used to always
talk
make
a
fun.
lot, so I think you're good.
the kids, my three kids always made fun of some of the ways I would say words, even as I was growing up. I said, well, I don't know. I'm getting somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm getting somewhere.
Look at where you are today.
That's right. You're doing just
but anyway,
fine.
speech therapists are very important, because I guess if I hadn't gone to one, maybe I wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
Talking on this microphone. But no, so thank you all for doing what you do. Do you have some questions, Mary, that you wanted to ask the ladies?
Well, because my background was in special ed, and I did have some education background in speech path, right? Even the whole early childhood programming became controversial when Head Start data got released. After 50 years of Head Start, turned out that if you were a normally developing child, a lot of the gains that you saw in the children for literacy and pre-academic skills got washed out by third grade. But long-lasting and more substantial gains were made by children who had disabilities or were English language learners. So it is critical for in repatterning the brain after some kind of injury or assault, that children be given direct instruction on what the correct motor patterns would be
Sure.
in speech, so that you could pattern the neural pathways in the brain to do that. And you could see the difference then, why you would have such effectiveness for children with disabilities, and why it might not be as effective for kids who didn't have that injury and it was just, academic content kind of thing, pre-academic, which is a whole nother discussion. But you mentioned before how you get a lot of fulfillment professionally from dealing with children who need feeding therapy in infancy. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It's a lot of, some of it's what you mentioned, Lynn, with potentially having some anatomical challenges that need to be addressed, but some of it's motor planning and maybe due to a certain type of disability. We see many children that have Down syndrome that have challenges with feeding, or cerebral palsy, different things like that, but also
Because of
our
muscle a
tone.
lax muscle tone.
That's right.
Yeah.
But also, our children that have autism many times have sensory needs that are challenging. And so, they don't like maybe something that's very, very cold or something that's too warm. And so they start to find tendencies very early towards certain foods and away from certain foods. And if you cater to that too much early on, then you can end up having a situation where children have very limited scope of foods that they eat, and then that impacts their nutrition. And we all know how nutrition is so important for cognitive development and for other components. So that nutrition component, we actually just brought on a dietitian. We failed to mention that into our group because of that component. And I just want to stop really for a second and give a lot of credit to the ARC too for diving into this early childhood and childhood component. They've been so focused mostly on the adult services for so long, but what they saw was exactly what you're saying. When a child has a difference of some kind in their learning abilities or in their skills sensory-wise or motor-wise, the time to deal with it is early. The earlier, the better. And so we were having a conversation yesterday about our services with a new employee, and we were going through all the services, and she said, how young can they come? And I said, as young as we can get them.
Yeah, what was, when I started it, and I won't tell you when, but when I started, the theory was that these mothers were refrigerator moms, that they were unresponsive, and this was an emotional issue between the parent and child, and I don't know how long it took to get over that. But one of the observations that came out was moms were having a hard time with the attachment process because the babies weren't even looking at their eyes. It was coming from the neurologic development of the child, and it's hard to develop a relationship with somebody who won't look at you.
Sure.
No matter how much you care, you're looking for a little feedback here, right? So tell us about the behaviors and the symptoms of these infants where moms who might feel uncomfortable saying, what am I doing wrong? How do you advise them saying, look for these, and if you see them, maybe you need an evaluation?
Yeah, I think, Jamie, do you want to speak to that?
Sure.
And how you talk with families?
The World Health Organization believes that you can start even looking for an autism diagnosis as early as 18 months. We tend to wait just a little bit longer, about 24 months, to go through that diagnostic process. But there's a wonderful tool out there called Baby Navigator. And you can go on to Baby Navigator, and it will share with you all the things your kiddo should be meeting in their milestones. If they're not, then it's time to look at what we can do even before a diagnosis. There is an amazing program in Missouri called First Steps. And the moment a family thinks maybe something is not developing as a typical developmental stage for a child, First Steps is there to help start helping that family in the process. When you're a first-time mom, you don't know what to expect. And I do remember the refrigerator mom discussions. I was coming into the world as a mom just at the tail end of a lot of that talk. But when you have a kiddo and you're expecting these things to happen and they don't happen, you think they'll catch up. and professionals
But that's
will
not
say,
unreasonable.
No, no,
There's a
professionals
wide
will
range
say
of
that.
normal at that
For
early
sure.
age.
There
and
is.
It's really,
There is.
You do have to be patient.
So then you feel guilty as a parent if you noticed at 4 months the kiddo wouldn't look at you when you're nursing or when you're talking to them or oohing and cooing and they don't respond, and you think, it'll just take them a little bit longer. They had an ear infection or they have an older sister that talks for them all the time, Then as things progress, then you feel guilty as a parent of, I missed that. And so I think that's important as professionals, to support families, meet them where they're at, and where you find out and where you see that need, then stepping in and supporting as young as possible. Early intervention is amazing, and it makes a difference for kiddos. And sometimes it can't be as early as we think. So just when you come to that decision as a family, that's the best time for you.
Yeah, but there's also a need for a support system while you're trying to figure this out.
It sure is.
And sometimes just talking to other moms, saying, this rigidity my child exhibited,
Sure.
Was my signal, because that didn't seem normal to me, and I've had 4 other kids.
Yeah.
And so having contact, a network of other parents who've been through this and can help say, yeah, your responses are normal for this situation. Do you have that kind of parent network, support groups for?
There are some. Many of the traditional support groups that we saw in the 90s and the early 2000s transitioned more to social media. So there are a couple of really great Facebook pages, ones that are private for families in Southwest Missouri, ones that are public for families in Southwest Missouri to connect. The ARC, part of our role on the family advocacy side is to provide that education. So in September, I'll give a plug, in September we have an event coming up where we're going to be targeting safety. There is a project called Project September 26th, and it spotlights a family that their adult son and her sister passed away in the home because he would not leave the home in a fire. So the 25th at the center, we're going to spotlight safety, and we're going to have professionals from the crisis intervention teams and professionals that are all across safety for families. And so we have that component of education for parents. Nova Center of the Ozarks has a parent support group that meets, and families just organically find other families. And that is the nice process of a lot of early childhood education programs. You will meet a family on the doorstep when you're dropping your kid off at school, and you meet. And those relationships that we made personally all those years ago at Logan Rogersville, we still have. There's 4 of us that as families have stayed close together. So traditional support groups, we don't see those as much.
Okay.
But we see families connecting. And the state of Missouri has the parent-to-parent programs and the family-to-family programs out of the University of Kansas City that also do parent matching based on diagnosis.
Hey, you know what? That's great discussion. So early intervention leads us to early diagnosis and a lot of positive things. I'm going to make sure I talk about our sponsors. We're going to run out of time. I'm going to give you guys final word. We need to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you. One great thing about this program is we have a lot of people in other states that they're going to hear about what you guys, the fantastic things you ARC of the Ozarks does, and with autism and other conditions. And so hopefully they'll start to think, well, I don't want to do that in my state. I want to do that in my city and get involved. But we do have 2 great sponsors.
Because it was parents who started this. They
Oh,
were the
yeah.
difference makers,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's why we always do this. But our 2 sponsors that make this show possible, that really helps Acts Ministry, is Brad Pistow, Certified Fiduciary Financial Planner, located in Ozark, Missouri, on North Farmer Road. I actually use him as a retirement specialist, and many of my friends and family members do too. You can call him 417-581 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. Lisa's going to answer the phone. She is also a registered agent, but and Hunter, his son, is too. So they are, Brad Pistow is licensed in, I think, 12 states, but he has associates in all 50 states. He goes around the country and speaks, and he has 2 books, both #1 best-selling retirement books, Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof. And he'll send you those books free. He doesn't charge you anything to talk to him, and I highly, highly recommend him. He has a plan that you'll never run out of money before you run out of your life. And I think that's pretty important. Our second sponsor is Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. Used to be Youngblood Motor Group. That is John Whittaker, and Aaron Swanson is the manager there. And these guys are located on South Campbell, 3525 South Campbell and 3519 South Campbell, Nissan Kia. And across the street, they have used cars, very nice used car selection, and a lot of cars that are certified. That's the type of car I usually buy. I buy low mileage, new cars, and usually under 10,000 miles. You're going to pay a little bit more, but you're going to save a lot of money because they're certified with over 100 inspection points, and you're going to go down the road. I highly recommend these guys. I tell you what, these 2 sponsors don't just help Acts Ministry. They help a lot of different organizations and nonprofits in the Springfield area. So go out and see them. And so we're back now. So one of the things I want to make sure before we run out of time, how do people find out? What's the best phone numbers? What's the best website, Facebook? What do we need to do?
The Autism Center of the Ozarks.org is our website. Did I say that right? Yeah, and on that website, there's really easy, if you're looking to receive services, there's a Refer My Child, there's a Refer Myself buttons that you can click. If you're just looking for resources of maybe this is a thought, something I want to look at for my family, or my child's been diagnosed, now what do I do? There's a wonderful click on there that's resources, and we have a ton of available resources that are local, statewide, and national that can help families and individuals find the resources that they're looking for. So that's step 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then our main ARC website is the arcoftheozarks.org, and we are a 501c3, we're a nonprofit. We do get some state funding for these services, but like our family advocate department, not billable service, all of these things that Jamie's team provides, and some of the other services we provide are because of donations that are given to us from people who are generous in our community and outside of our community. So there's an opportunity to donate on that website. If people are interested in helping us continue the work that we're doing, that would be wonderful as well.
So Melanie, you get federal funding? Any federal help?
I think the majority of
Most
our
it's
funding is state.
Yeah.
Which is something for parents in other states or areas who are interested in starting something like ARC. You should get to know your legislators.
Absolutely.
Because that connection, the ability to advocate and get appropriations for funds comes
Yes.
through the state rep.
It does. And I mean, Lynn, you've been a great help. Representative Alex Riley has been a strong supporter of the work that's been done at the Arc of the Ozarks and many others. I mean, I could probably list 5 or 10 others over the years in our area too. And it is important, that relationship with the state. But I would offer, if you're in another state and you want to see what it's like, come visit us. I mean, we love to give tours. We love to share how we're doing what we're doing, because we are serving our community and we want to help others be able to serve their community well too. We've had people come from Oklahoma and other locations in the state even. So we don't really view what we do as competition, right?
No.
There's too many children that need access to care. We want to share our knowledge and help others be able to do the same things we're doing in their community.
Should they ask for you? Who should they ask for? If
Well,
they
they can
want a
ask
tour?
for me. They can ask for Jamie. We have our office manager, Kelly Hewitt, is a wonderful contact as well. But anybody on our team would be happy to help.
So, folks, one thing that I want to point out, obviously, you guys have a large organization, very successful, and you guys help a lot of people, okay? But it started out with Mrs. Newport, right?
It sure
I
did.
mean, so I knew Russell Newport. I knew the family. I knew both of the sons. I knew Mark Newport. That I played tennis with Mark. Mark was a little
Okay.
younger than me, so now Mark's a doctor. I think he's getting ready to retire, maybe.
Okay.
But in a way, that
There
family.
you go. There's the 60 years of the arc right there.
Yeah, that's true. But I remember Mrs. Newport started that with just another mom or two because they had a son
Yeah.
that had these issues too, and so it started in a little tiny group, and look where it is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wherever you live, you could do the same thing. You're not going to be great big like
could be a
Ark
difference
of the
maker.
Ozarks, but
Yeah,
you can
that's
be a
right.
difference maker. These two ladies and the whole organization of Ark of the Ozarks are difference makers, and that is actually one of the most important things you can do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anything else that we need to talk about before we sign off? I do know one thing. Axe Fest is coming up July 24th and 25th. Is that 25th and 26th? Yeah, 25th and 26th. That's an annual event right here at our studio. We'll have a lot of people here that day, and there's
Yeah,
some
to
really
keep us on the air so we can
great
keep
speakers.
promoting other difference makers.
Yeah, there's a lot of great speakers going to be there, and a lot of some good music and fellowship, and so some very important times. This show called Changing Times is very appropriate, and we are still in the midst of changing times. But now, according and talking to Jim Whining, our CEO, we're also in dangerous times. So changing times is transitioning a little bit toward, I don't want to change the name of this show, but we are transitioning into dangerous times in the world. And so we got to hang on, and as Christians, we need to do the right things and share the good word with other people. So anyway, next week, we're really happy. We're going to have Pastor John Lindell and Debbie Lindell on our
excellent.
show, and we're going to talk to them and listen to their story, and so we're excited about that. And in the meantime, thanks for listening in and watching us, and we'll be back next Wednesday. God bless.